All right, everyone. Today we're going to weigh in on a little bit of a spicy topic. Several of you've reached out, both privately and also in the form of asking me on a live stream, and I thought I'd sit down and just really try to give you my full answer regarding the server transfers, regarding Fresh Start being transferred into legacy type servers. But this answer, this conversation, this discussion is going to require a little bit of nuance, namely because I think this video and my answer really is an answer in three parts: the past, the present, and the future. And I would ask, if at all possible, that you listen to everything that I'm saying and then essentially try to educate me on anything that I'm not quite understanding or where there is a gap in my logic, because I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed human being. I don't get everything right all the time, but I did want to step in and give you guys my best answer and how I think through this process with these server merges coming up, because gamers are rightfully upset. I've seen a lot of discussion also on the forum. So after being asked a couple times, also went and did a little bit of reading about what other people are saying. But my answer really hasn't changed since I was talking about this as an issue back in the summer, back when Whispers of Fresh Start actually started to come about. I even have those videos on this channel, and you can go check them out for yourself if you want to. I'm going to try to make sure I'm very clear and not pointing to too many videos of the past and actually just kind of restating it here. But note that I was very concerned about the concept of fresh starts, namely because I believe the technology that is needed for the game and a fresh start server to thrive doesn't exist yet. And we know it doesn't exist yet because we just got the first hint of it coming in the roadmap of summer 2023. So let's kind of break this down into the three parts like I talked about, and feel free to educate me on anything that I'm missing. And for those of you who are brand new to the channel, hello and welcome. My name is Brian. If you're new, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to this video. I really am very positive about New World, and this week alone, I've got a lot of cool videos that I'm planning. I'm going to talk to you guys about the G Cloud. This is a new little handheld that I actually just picked up and been playing New World on it. I also will be getting the Steam Deck update guide rolled out for you guys this week, and hopefully that will help address some of the issues that I've seen people talk about in the comments. Also, not everything's right in the world of New World, so my next video that you guys see from me personally is going to be a little bit of a frustration rant about the town boards. So there's a lot to talk about here on the channel, but I'm still absolutely just in love with this game, and that's kind of, I don't feel like I should apologize for that, because I don't know who needs to hear it. If you guys are clicking on this video, you're here to talk about New World. So let's talk about New World. The past, Chapter A. The problem that I brought up was that without cross server play, the game is going to struggle, and it's going to struggle greatly. You can have a small server in this game if you have cross server play, because what you end up having is you have content that cannot be filled with a lower population. So servers absolutely will have to merge. Now, what does this look like in a fresh start server world versus a legacy server world, a mature world in which that you have this weird divide between the players? Players can't go from legacy to the fresh start, so the fresh start is going to have to be attractive enough to enough people, and so you're going to see those merges eventually happen. And if it happens really quickly, there is no alternative except for to merge into legacy or let those characters and their progress die. So that is essentially kind of the problem at hand. Now, this problem will be fixed in the future with cross server play. The ability to play where you want, to play on a small server and not be penalized for it, to play on a small server and be able to kind of craft your own experience. In fact, I actually predict that when cross server play comes in, if all things remain somewhat regular, somewhat similar to how it is now, you might actually see cross server play being a small server being a really desirable thing to have, and you might see a bigger, broader widening and spreading of populations, because then you don't have to compete so heavily for resources and whatnot, and you're not cut off from things like OPR. Now, OPR is the first thing coming to cross server play. We do know that they want to bring this for PvP expeditions, and ultimately I hope for the open world. There's a lot of questions about that. There's a lot of how does the territory control work? All of these things have to be really considered and thought out and communicated. And that's just going to take time. The first things first is obviously the instance content, get that up and running. And then the bigger conversation is that how does the game progress from here? Now, one of the things is that New World has a massive strength in its open world. And I hope, and I continue to get feedback that they should hopefully never abandon that for instance content. Otherwise, you just run the risk of becoming just like every other MMO RPG out there. And I don't think that's what New World wants and what players of New World want, but I could be wrong in that respect. But that's essentially what I saw as the problem. And now we move into today, where we actually have real data, where we actually have real people being impacted. And it doesn't necessarily feel good, but there's hope. And I'll talk about that in chapter C, as we know, or in chapter B for Brian. The issue here we have here also is that you also had fresh starts, but you also had fresh starts that were driven off of an insane event, the return to a tournament event. In fact, actually one of the other number one questions I've been getting on my live stream is, hey, are you back on Orofina? Hey, are you on a fresh start server? The answer is, yes, I'm back on Orofina, but no, I'm not back on a fresh start server. I was never going to continue my character. I was never going to continue to invest in my, fresh start character once the event was over. I made that clear beforehand. I made that clear during, and I'm trying to continue to make that clear. But obviously, people come in and go into the content as they choose and as they have the right to. And, sometimes you have to end up kind of repeating things a couple of times because not everybody's always going to get every message that I post, and that's fine. But that's the aspect. My character is my character, and I've seen a lot of people trying to dog on the legacy servers, talking about how they're corrupt and all these different things. As someone who plays on a legacy server, has been here this whole time, I feel like the environment is really, really good. My experiences might differ depending on my play style at the time, depending on my availability at the time, but I think in my personal experience, I feel like there's a lot of fear mongering about legacy servers, like that, oh, you'll never be able to get ahead, you'll never be able to catch up, you'll never be able to do X, Y, and Z. And I don't see any of that happening. I see tons of people able to make money, but I'm going to talk about the town boards in a dedicated video because I am actively frustrated by that, and I think they're going in the complete wrong direction. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't want to overcrowd this video because this is about transfers. So right now there's going to be some pain points. There's going to be some pain points because at some point you don't have another option, because the fresh starts, like if they cannot sustain, those characters have the right and deserve to go somewhere else. And the other option, which I think is a worse option, is letting legacy kind of actually transfer into the fresh start world, because you almost in a way could, I don't know, maybe worst case scenario is the wrong answer, but they kind of set those worlds up with that kind of rule set. So maybe it's the easier option just to say, yeah, you only got a couple of hundred people here, and they're, the servers aren't progressing. And eventually it's like, if we're going to just lose all these people and they're going to quit, it's better to put them into an environment where people are doing things and they're going to be well received and they're going to be welcomed in. I don't think it's going to be as bad as a lot of the doom saying that I've seen on the internet about it, like, oh, how this is horrible. If we wanted to play on Legacy, we would have played on Legacy. It's like that would have been solved with crossover play, because then they could have kept the fresh start server up and you wouldn't be cut off from content. The wars and the invasions and a couple of those things, like that's a part of the technology that is not yet in when it comes to being able to pull from the wider data center. And then you could end up having a system like that. But until that comes, this is the kind of the reality that we're in for today. Is it going to hurt the game? I think some people are going to be frustrated by it, but I think what New World has shown is that they have the ability to invite people back into the game. And when those updates come and when those problems have been solved, even the person who's right now the angriest and is like, I'm never coming back, yada, 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 they've already bought in the game. And in a year or 2 years, or, however long, all they have to do is update the game and they get to see all the things that have changed. And New World has that uniqueness to it. It has that hook. It has the kind of a magic to it that really kind of sucks you in. And it's, whether it's going to suck you in for a month or a couple years, it really is going to vary player to player. But that kind of shifts to the future, chapter C. Don't know why I labeled these chapters with letters. It's been a day. But Chapter C, the future. We know the technology and the things they're working on will serve to address the core fundamental underlying problem about servers, about server queues. They've got their work cut out for them. And I saw a lot of people thinking that it should be sooner. I would rather it be done right than cause issues. They talked about in the dev update for the 1-year anniversary, one of the things they wanted to stop is they want to stop taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Now, for anybody out there in DevOps, hello, my brethren. I'm a software developer, and we do the kind of these, like what they call the retros after your sprints: start, stop, and continue. So we go through that process. They go through that process. It's a very healthy process to kind of always evaluate how things are going, what could be done better, what, good habits need to continue, what good habits need to be created, and what bad habits need to stop. And everything they put together has me as a developer and a gamer absolutely looking at the future going, yeah, it's gonna be great. There's so many really cool things that are on the horizon. I cannot wait for you guys to see them, hear them. We can share them, we can geek out about them. But if you're burned by this, it's perfectly acceptable for you to be able to step away and take breaks. Don't feel like you owe the game anything, because you don't. If the game's not working for you in any kind of respect, it's perfectly okay. And I would be encouraged for you to do so rather than let yourself get so frustrated, so beat up, so angry that eventually that what would have ended up being a year break turns into a 5-year break because you're just that angry. Hell has no fury like a gamer scorned is the thought that comes to mind. But the technology, when that starts to get implemented over the course of the next year, obviously next summer, but then it's still going to have to roll out into the other systems and features that will open up the game to have a better server infrastructure and a better way for us all to play together. I'm sorry, my throat's starting to get a little dry. Like I said, it's been a day. But anyway, that's, if you're kind of looking for an answer, I think this is kind of their best solution. I mean, for the time, so it's this is the best that the tool they have today. In the future, it's going to get better. And by the time that future rolls around, excuse me. Yeah, that feels much better. I just needed to cough. By the time that future, as the future goes from the next couple of weeks, the issue and the frustration that gamers feel will die down. People will get into their new communities. They'll make new bonds. They'll make new friends. They'll get integrated, and they'll actually see that the legacy servers aren't as bad as what they've been told they aren't as bad as what they feared they would be. And then essentially we're all going to be legacy. That's the thing, tying this all back together. I was at what point does a fresh start become a legacy server? It's got to happen at some point, and I could see them adding in new fresh start servers, kind of as a yearly thing, as a part of it, a big event. But there's going to be a risk unless they get that cross-play technology integrated into their data centers, which in and of itself then gives players more choice to play wherever they want, to play where they're most comfortable, and not be cut off from content in the game. Anyway, I wanted to share those thoughts with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Let me know if I'm missing any kind of key points. Educate me, please, if at all possible. I'm always game to hear, especially thoughts that disagree or, have a different take than what I share. That's why I like comments. That's why I read comments. That's why I get in trouble for reading comments. So many big content creators keep telling me to stop reading the comments. I don't like that. I like to hear what you guys have to say. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.